Good morning, my Teaserking family. On a bit early today. I want to do a couple videos. I'd like to thank God. A man emailed me about doing shorts that would help the channel, so I'm going to look into doing that. So in other words, when I talk about what inflation is, I should just make it into a short, I don't know, a minute or two about inflation's money printing, not the dollar. Or gold, why you own gold, because you got to get out of the dollar. So things like that, I'll put on my shorts and my baseball picks and my football. So we start with gold again. And 33.74, more game playing. There was 34.40, and then it dropped to 33.80s, and then it dropped to 33.50s, and now it's back to 33.70. Obviously, it's just a game. Nobody's selling there. And then, maybe it's so people buy. I'm not sure what the U.S. is doing as far as, are they buying gold and silver? I would like to think so, because our dollar is gone. Our dollar is worthless. You can't keep printing the dollar and have it hold value. The more there is of anything, the less value it has, right? So if you see sales at the grocery store, dark chocolate, for example, the Lindt and the Giraldi, right? And all of a sudden they made the price $4.75. Nobody's buying it. So they instead of lowering the price, they go, oh, well, 2 for $8, or buy one, get one half off. They started doing that. Why? Because there's too much and the price is over market. They can't sell it. They're trying to take too much of a price increase and nobody's going to buy it. Now, I think part of what they do is psychological. You see the price of $4.75, but they kind of don't mean it. It's kind of like, well, we'll do buy one, get one free. Buy one, get the other one half off, which gets you to keep buying it so they can sensitize the new price. So you keep buying. So they want you to keep buying it. They realize it's a big price hike. So they'll sit there and they'll go, okay, we'll get you to keep buying it. We'll put it on sale so you keep buying it. And then eventually they'll take the sale off and they'll just show the $4.75. But I still don't think that's going to work because it's still above market. I mean, market for these things maybe $3. Now, I went to Walmart on my other dark chocolate, and they raised their price to $3.35, which I didn't know. They were tricky because they put it under this sticker of $1.99 or $2.15 or something. So I went and bought 4 of them, thinking the price is still $2.15 or $2.50, but it was under the wrong sticker. So they had raised it to $3.44. So I bought 4, thinking it was still $2. All right, but I won't do that mistake again. But if everything goes up, and now it's a question, do I want dark chocolate? If I do, it'll be 1 or 2 bars and I'll eat it much, much slower. Again, it's a nice thing to have. The cocoa is healthy for you, but there's a certain price. It's like buying a $50,000 Camry. I'm just not going to do it. That's why I bought a new one in 2018 that just turned 80,000 miles. I don't need another car because I'm not driving as much. I do have an interview today at 3:00 with Ford. And I know what I said about Ford, but, what am I going to do? So that's a Teams meeting at 3. So that's one reason I'm on a little early. I'm trying to get the job description because I apply to so many jobs. I don't know if what the description is. I just see senior financial analyst, finance manager. I apply. What's the point of reading it? So we go from there. Anyway, Ford, I know, is pretty good at training you and, getting you up to speed. They usually don't give you that much. Mercedes, I did 20 things at Mercedes. At Ford, it was usually 3 or 4 things. And, they're pretty, they're about 20-hour jobs instead of 40-hour jobs. But that's okay. So that's today at 3. I'll let you know what happens. I can wear polo. It's a teams thing, and I can wear polo. So we'll do that. Um, let's see what else. Let's go through baseball. So that's gold. Gold 33.76. Making a strong move at 10. So you can see it dropped just before 10 down so they could buy it cheaper. So I believe that it's the U.S. buying the gold and silver because their dollar's worthless. I mean, everybody knows the dollar's worthless if you understand economics. And really, it's not even that as much as if you understand logic. If you have, this is called the substitute. No, this is, I can't remember the law, but the first steak's really good. But if I were to serve you 3 steaks, the first steak you'd love, the second steak you'd be steak again, and the third steak you wouldn't even care about. So it's different when you have more, if you have too much of something. So we printed $1. It's just too much. There's too many dollars out there, and for the wrong reasons, to pay the government, not demand for the dollar. It's just we have to pay the interest. We have to pay Social Security and everything like that. My unemployment. So I found out, I called the court, and they just said it's about temporary employment, that you walked off the job. And she said, don't worry, you say that the job was eliminated and you've got proof, and it's up to them to prove you walked off, which they can't do. They're just trying to get out of paying it. And the judge understands that, and so you should be okay. I did talk to Tenneco, my HR friends, and they said, because the story was from the contract houses, Tenneco sent them something and they're reacting to it. And when I pushed the HR people from Tenneco, my friends, they said, we didn't send anything. I don't know what they're talking about. We did not send anything. I said, okay, I believe you, of course, but you told me the position ended because of the job being eliminated, and I believed you. I trusted you. You had no reason to lie to me, and I believed that. So that's why I'm kind of surprised now. And he said, no, they're just trying to stop paying the unemployment, and so they don't care if they screw whoever and waste the judge's time. It could be an issue where they just wait till it's a phone call. I never heard of a court with the judge and it's on the phone, and it's just a phone call, and they're probably, if you call in, they'll probably hang up. I mean, because they know they can't win, because they can't prove. They have to prove I walked off the job, which I believe is what they're thinking, which they can't prove. So, and my HR people at Tenneco were like, we'll support you. I don't know what we can do, but I said, well, I'll tell you, I'll do the thing, and then if I need a letter stating I did not walk off the job from you, then fine. But since they shouldn't have anything, since they didn't send anything, I mean, they can make up, hey, we flew to the moon. Well, prove it. Well, I can't really prove it, but we flew to the moon. So, they really don't have anything. So I should be fine. But if I get the Ford job, it'll be mute anyway, as I would start working and not needing unemployment. Anyway, so that's what's happening. So it's a pretty stressful couple of days for me, but I think it's calmed out. My biggest problem was understanding what exactly is this. Why am I calling into a court, into a judge? What am I, for unemployment? What am I calling in for? I've already went online on my thing and explained that the job was eliminated. That's like in your claim. So it's an insurance thing. So like I did the claim, I had to explain. I already did it. They already said fine. So what is, so now we're doing it again? So I don't know. This seems very bad. All right. 33.76 and 39.09. So I like that this is hanging in over 39. It did slip to 38.90, but it quickly went back to 39. As you can see, just before 10, they do sell them down so the U.S. can buy them cheaper. So if I'm trying to buy Canadian Club, I don't want to pay $50. I want to pay $10. So if this is options, they'll option it down to 10 and then I buy it and then it goes back up to 50. That's what's happened. That's the game here. So it's basically the US able to buy gold at 33.56 instead of 34.50. But that game, I don't know. They've been playing it for a month. I don't know. Is the US buying it? If there's that much physical out there to buy, I think Bricks has most of it. All right, let's turn to baseball. And hello. So let's go to yesterday. So we start off with Pitt, 2-unit game, and Pitt wins 6-1. Now, what I'm noticing from the Tigers, it's like the Yankees, right? For 2-3 weeks, we bet the Yankees under and won like 12, 15 in a row. They weren't hitting. Then they started to hit. Well, that's the same thing with Detroit. Detroit just is not hitting. To me, Detroit is an under. So I think you can play Detroit under until they start hitting. And because Pittsburgh got swept by the White Sox, so Pitt's not playing well, but the Tigers aren't hitting. Even when Scuba won, they won 2-1. Then they didn't score. I think they got shut out, and now they lost 6-1. They're not hitting. And you see all the batting averages start falling from 290s. They're all in the 260s on their way down to 220s, which is what the Tiger hitters really are a bunch of 220 hitters. They're just hitting over their heads. But when I notice it is because they play bad pitchers, because you'll see these home runs and the pitcher just puts the ball right down the middle. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's like I could hit it. It comes in straight right down the middle of the plate and they hit home runs. But when they face good pitching, they don't do anything because they can't hit curveballs and sinkers and whatever else. Hi, Iwis. I'm fine. How are you? Hope you're well. So let's go. Then we had, did we play the Jets? Yankees. KC under 10 did not go under. It was 8-4. They beat the Cubs. Seth Lugo and Colin Ray. How the hell did they get 8 runs off of Colin Ray? And I guess the wind was blowing out, and they actually did it. Minnesota over 9. And Minnesota lost 4-3, so they didn't go over. Then we have Cleveland. Cleveland does win 3-2 over Baltimore. We had Philadelphia over 8.5, and Boston beat them 9-8. That was 17. That's over 8. The Yankees under 8. No, the Yankees went over. Toronto beat them 8-4. Max Fried, 11-4 with the 2. I mean, what are you going to do with Max Fried? And they give up 8 runs with Max Fried. I don't know. Let's take a look how many Max Fried gave up. So Toronto gets 2 runs in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So Max Fried probably gave up at least 4 of them, if not more. Okay. So Max Fried gives up 6 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. So all of a sudden, Max Fried's not pitching well. To give out Chris Bassett with his low ERA gives up 4 runs with a 3.88 ERA. So here's where you get in trouble with averages. Real D, how are you? I hope you're well. Hello. OS, audio speak, no option. I don't know what that means. Can you hear me, Real D? I believe you can. I see my lights are on. Uh, oh, you can't speak to me, Iwis. Is that what it is? Is that what you're saying? Or can you hear me? I believe you can, but can you hear me? Uh, let me check this out. 'Cause I know sometimes the audio doesn't work, but usually if I see my buttons going, then the audio is working. Let's see. So can you hear me? I hear you loud and clear. Okay. So I don't know what Alice is saying. Audio speak no up. So are you trying to speak to me, Iwas? You can't speak to me, unfortunately. This is live chat, but you can chat and I can see it and respond, but I can't. We can't have a conversation, unfortunately. Maybe we'll look into, what are those podcasts or something? Thank you, Real D. Appreciate it. So the Yankees, so Fried's given up a lot of runs, but that's the premise. Fried's pitching, it'll be a low scoring game, and now Toronto beat the shit out of them. But now I won't bet Toronto. I'm going to bet them over if they're beating up Fried. Our last game is Tampa Bay over 9. And yeah, it was a big that went way over. Chicago White Sox win 11-9, 20-run game. So we go 1 and 2, 2 and 2, 3 and 2, 4 and 2. We go 4 and 3 yesterday. Average day. We got burned on Max Fried giving up runs and Seth Lugo against Colin Ray in the Cub game going over 10. That's crazy. So what we're seeing is if we look at this, the White Sox have been hitting lately. Did you bet any NFL team win totals over and under? No, I generally don't do that because knowing what I know in the NFL, I just assume bet the team the week of it. But as far as totals, there's so much there because of the injuries. So you can bet, let's say you bet San Diego over. Then Justin Herbert gets hurt in week 2. You're screwed. So knowing what we know about football, that there is injuries, it's an extremely high risk to bet a team total now. I think I've done some in the middle of the year. Like 1 year I bet Michigan State, they were playing really well to win the Big Ten. But that was 8 or 9 games into it. So I do some of that if I see a live team like Indiana last year. I didn't bet them to win the Big Ten, but you can see that. Is there anyone that you are looking at, Real D, that you want me to talk about? I was, sir, speaking in Urdu. I don't know what that means. What's Urdu, I was? Anyway, I know we have a little culture difference, but that's okay. Just we'll try to figure it out. So, Real D, if there's any one that you want to talk about, I would think I'd be careful with the Bears doing anything. Well, let's take a quick look at the NFL. We'll get back to baseball picks for today. So if we let's look at the team. So if we look at standings, I would think the Jets, I wouldn't think will win too many games. Miami shouldn't win too many, nor will New England. So I think over on Buffalo because they get to play the Jets, Miami, and New England twice. That's 6 wins. So I would think that would be good. Cincinnati, I think, will be really pissed off and probably have an over. I don't think I think they can play Baltimore really well. They lost like 36-35 to them. So I think they can beat Baltimore. And then Pittsburgh they can beat. But I do look at Aaron Rodgers. I think Pittsburgh, depending on how low their total is can go over. Cleveland, I would bet it under, especially, I mean, they're either going to get Dylan Gabriel or Prime Jr. And if they get Prime Jr., they're not going to win anything. So once you know who the quarterback is for Cleveland, I would, if it's Prime Jr., Dylan Gabriel, or Flacco will win more games, right? So once that's established, Flacco will get you the most wins. But how many? Again, they got to play a pissed Cincinnati team, a pissed Baltimore team, and a pissed Pittsburgh team. Lions win totals and Ravens. All right. So what is the Lions? What are those win totals? If just tell me what they are, and then I'll tell you what I would do with it. Jacksonville sucks. Tennessee won't win much. Indy won't win much. I mean, if they're going to Daniel Jones, I mean, you got big problems. And then Houston's overrated. Denver will win. But Denver, KC, that's the toughest division. They're going to beat each other up. So depending on what Denver and San Diego and even Oakland should win more with Coach Pete. So let's look at Baltimore. Let's look at their schedule. Well, let's go in and see if it gives us their schedule. Here it is. So I'm going to look at the schedule and give you the wins, and then whatever the win total is, we can go from there. All right, so Baltimore opens at Buffalo. That's going to be a loss. Then they get Cleveland. After the loss, they'll win. So they're 1-1. Then they get Detroit. They'll beat Detroit 2-1. Then they go to KC. They'll probably lose to KC 2-2. Then they host Houston. The defense is going to be tough for Lamar, but they probably win 3-2. And they get the Rams. Oof. Between Houston and the Rams, they could be, one of them could be a loser. So that's 3-3. They'll kill the Bears 4-3. They'll kill Miami 5-3. They'll kill Minnesota 6-3. Then it gets Cleveland again 7-3. The Jets 8-3. Cincinnati, we're going to split with Cincinnati. So that's 9-4. Pittsburgh at home, they should win 10-4. New England 11-4. Green Bay 12-4. And then at Pitt, maybe they lose. So 12-5. I don't know what the total is on the ticket, but that's Baltimore with 12 wins. And then could they beat Buffalo the first week? Sure. And then that Houston Ram, I got to believe they're going to lose one of them. They'll have trouble with Stafford. They won't have trouble with CJ Stroud, but they'll have trouble with the Houston defense. But Baltimore always fucks up, right? They blew a 10-point lead to Oakland and Cleveland last year at home in the fourth quarter. This is the problem with Lamar. So what is the total? Ravens over 11.5, minus 130. So I just gave you 12 wins. I don't like minus 130. That's a lot. Because Pittsburgh's better. I mean, I don't care what you say about Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh's better with Aaron Rodgers. And then they signed Devontae Adams, and then DK Metcalf, and then they just signed Jalen Ramsey. They got a good coach. It's the Steelers. So we'll see. They could play better, but Aaron Rodgers is going to give Baltimore problems. We'll see. Him staying healthy, that's another issue. I would look at the under in the Jets. I mean, what's the Jets total? That's what I'd be banging. They're not going to win anything. So I think they get to 12 wins, maybe 13. But it's a hard division. They got a better Pitt team, and Joe Burrow's pissed at Cincinnati. But we've included one Cincinnati loss and one Pitt loss in that total. However, you got Buffalo and Kansas City. They'll beat Detroit because Detroit can't handle a running quarterback. Lions over 10.5. That's going to be a tough one. Let's take a look. So figure maybe 12-5 Baltimore. But they got to play Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, who are all overrated. All right, let's go back to Detroit. Now, the thing with Detroit, as you know, is they lost their coordinators. I'm not sold on their head coach anyway. So I'll be as unbiased as I can. You know me. All right. Detroit opens at Green Bay. They're a dog. Now, I don't know how the new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are going to be. They already have injuries to the defensive line. I do think they can beat Green Bay because I'm not sold on Green Bay. So we'll give them a win against Green Bay, for sure a win against the Bears, a loss to Baltimore, 2-1. They'll beat Cleveland, 3-1. At Cincinnati, probably a loss, 3-2. Kansas City's a loss, 3-3. Tampa, probably a loss, 3-4. Minnesota, they should beat 4-4. Washington, 4-5. Philly, 4-6. The Giants, 5-6. At home against Green Bay, 6-6. Against Dallas, 7-6. The Rams, 7-7. Pittsburgh, 8-7. At Minnie, 9-7. And at the Bears, 10-7. I'll give them 10 wins. Yeah, I can see why it's plus. Now, there's 10 wins, but you have to factor in he broke his leg in 2 places. Is he going to just come back week 1 and be all pro? Absolutely not. So that's going to be, they could lose that Green Bay game. I mean, theoretically, they could lose a game to the Bears. I doubt it, but Bears have a very good defense. And Caleb sucks. We know that. His senior, the last year at USC, he has Lincoln Riley and Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator of Washington, as his coaches, and he sucked. And if you can't play for Lincoln Riley and Cliff Kingsbury, you're in big trouble. So everybody wants to blame the coach last year, and I blame Caleb. Oh, I should study film? Oh, really? He's a loser. So yeah, I just don't see the Bears. The Bears are probably an under. I'd maybe look at the Bears and Jets under. So I don't think you're going to get a win against Chicago. You'll probably split with Minnesota. You probably split with Green Bay. You got Kansas City and Baltimore. Those are losses. And again, though, it comes into injuries. Lamar gets hurt. Jalen Hurts gets hurt. Now there are wins. We believe what's his name? J.J. McCarthy. He'll only last 4 or 5 games. He's injury prone. He got injured in Michigan, hurt his knee, was out for the year. Last year, hurts his knee, he's out for the year. This year, I'll give him 4 games. So Minnesota, who's their backup? I don't know why they let Darnold go from McCarthy. I thought that was absolutely stupid, but they probably couldn't afford Darnold because he did sign a big contract. I just don't see them going over. I think they'll be around between 10 and 12. But in that schedule, I don't really see. I mean, you got the Rams, who are going to be really good this year with Devontae Adams, Pukanuka, good running back, and a better defense. And Stafford wants to beat the Lions, and it's in LA. We don't know the offensive coordinator. We don't know the defensive coordinator. We assume they're not as good as what they had, but then you've lost the all-pro center right now. You don't really have a replacement. You've lost your best defensive end, Hutchinson, who coming back from a broken leg, what is it? I mean, you broke your leg. It's not, that's a break. It's a different story. So how good you've got to be less effective with the broken leg coming back. There has to be signs of hurt. So I don't know that they can't be as good as last year, and they had a pretty easy schedule last year. So here, they got a real tough schedule. I would say under is the play, and that's why you're getting a plus at 10.5 because they'll probably get 9 or 10, and that's why that's probably a minus. So I would think again, Baltimore in a very tough division, and Detroit just losing a center, their coordinators. Golf's not that good. All these plays. Detroit basically is a lot of misdirection. They want to run the ball, and then it's a lot of misdirection in the backfield and a lot of play action passes. So it ain't going to work against Kansas City. It's not going to work against Baltimore. Philadelphia will eat them for lunch. And those 3 losses for sure. So it'll be rough. I don't know if they'll get there. It'll be close. I mean, they could be 9, 10, 11. Just for shits and giggles, what's the Jets and what's the Bears? I think the Jets under is probably a lock. And then probably Tennessee under, Indy under. I mean, let's go to the worst teams, Real D. So if we look at, as I was doing, so Dallas, a disappointment. Philly's good. Washington's better. The Giants are much better. The Giants over might be good. Russell Wilson, Scattaboo. They've got Malik Neighbors. Their defense was okay. The coach is on the hot seat. He's going to get fired if they do 5-12 again. So maybe the Giants over if it's low enough. Green Bay, I'm not a Jordan Love fan. Minnesota, Bears under. Tampa Bay probably over. The team I like is what's Atlanta's over. I think Atlanta goes over with Penix. Carolina, they won't win 3 games. New Orleans, they're terrible. Arizona, I don't know. The Rams should be good. The Niners are a team that should be pissed off. And Seattle, I doubt will get there. Laugh out loud, they think the Jets can get 6 wins. All right, let's look at the Jets. I don't see them winning 3 games. The Jets's. Who are they now? They probably have the weaker schedule. So let's look at the Jets. Now I'll be as I can. They open at Pitt. That's a loss with Aaron Rodgers. Again, they have Fields. All right. Buffalo, they're 0-2. Tampa Bay, they're 0-3. At Miami, they're 0-4. At Miami. At home, maybe they beat them. They host Dallas, probably 0-5. They host Denver, 0-6. All right, there's a first win against Carolina. At Cincy, so they're 1-7. Home against Cleveland, maybe they can win. Depends who the quarterback is. Cleveland, Myles Garrett, probably a loss. At New England, a loss. Baltimore, a loss. Atlanta, a loss. Home against Miami, that's 2 wins. At Jacksonville, maybe a win. Let's give them 3. New Orleans, all right, give them 4. Home to New England and Buffalo. So at most I see is 5 wins, maybe. So if they can beat Miami at home, if they can beat New England at home, They get New Orleans, Carolina, Jacksonville. So maybe they get 5 wins. 6? No. I mean, keep in mind, Field sucks. So I'm not. I'd be betting under on that one. Again, why would you? Where's Fields going to get these wins from? He sucks. We've seen him suck. We know he sucks. So where are we finding these wins with Fields? This is where I don't get it. Anyway, um, so yeah, so I think Atlanta's a sleeper. The Niners will be pissed. They get McCaffrey back. They got, I don't know if Ayuk's back yet, but they got Jennings will be there. And Brock Purdy's not bad, and the defense is always pretty good. Seattle, I think, will be weak with Sam Darnold. I mean, he was, they won, 14 games, but that was with their defense and Justin Jefferson. You don't have that at Seattle. I don't buy Smith Najima as a professional. He's like Marvin Harrison. I don't buy these guys as good receivers. Yeah, they went to Ohio State, big freaking deal. That doesn't make him a good pro. Tampa Bay should be good. So I'll give you Atlanta should be good. Carolina sucks, and New Orleans probably sucks. Arizona, and then Seattle is going to be bad. And Detroit will be okay, but not like last year was just a fluke. Green Bay, I don't like Jordan Love. Minnesota, I don't like J.J. McCarthy. And the Bears, I don't like their quarterback. Now, the Bears have a good defense, and so does Minnesota. If there's a category for games under 20 points, that would be it. AFC, again, bet against the Jets. Probably Miami and New England, but they play each other. So that's where you go over on Buffalo because they get 6 easy wins. Cincy will be better. Baltimore, they'll be good. Pittsburgh will be better with Aaron Rodgers. The whole AFC South sucks. Houston should win, but they don't know how to win. They should go like 13-4 playing Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Indy. They should get that 6 wins right there, but they don't know how to win. Jacksonville is terrible. Trevor Lawrence is terrible. And Tennessee with Cam Ward, they're going to maybe win 4 games. And then again, Denver, KC, Oakland, and San Diego, all 4 of those will eat up all the teams they play. But then when they play each other, you got to figure they're going to split. KC's not going 16-1 or 15-2 again. All right, so that's football. Let me know if you have anything else, Real D. Now, Teaserking, I had my IT guy update everything. So you want to buy the year, you want to buy, anything, it's all up there. I made the class $50 instead of $25. There's too much information in there. There is a class on Austrian economics and gold if you want a class in that. Just $25, and I'd be happy to do those classes. Otherwise, the pro, the college, and so keep in mind, if you buy my pro picks for the week, you get any pro locks I have. You don't get the college locks. If you buy college, you get the college locks, so you don't get the pro locks, but you get all my picks. And usually there's, you just go into my history. There's always probably college football. I probably have 10 plays, and in pros, I usually have at least 6 that I can find at most weeks. Some weeks, now the difference is like baseball. I went 6-1 on the 21st, and yesterday I went 4-3. It's all the matchups. It's, and then you're betting Max Fried and they score. It's a high scoring game. Well, where did that come from? So it all depends on what normally happens. But if I get the proper matchups, then it's probably about 7 teasers. And I do put one, if I really love a team, I will put them in 2 teasers, maybe 3. Usually I try to keep it to 2 because I don't want one team killing me. But if I really like a game, I want to put them in 2 teasers. Um, so you have that. That's what I like to do. Um, you have so that's what you get. So you get a bulk load. I don't force a lock. I don't sell a lock just to sell a lock. If I really like the game, it's a lock. Sort of like I do in baseball. Where's a good lock? Milwaukee. I had Milwaukee last week, and I had a 5-unit lock on it. It's a good pitching matchup, and they were hot. They won 11 in a row or something like that. So there are games I like better than others. I just call them a lock. It's an industry term. It means I really love the game, and I'm very successful with those. So I don't lock to lock, and I don't lock a lot of games unless some weeks I find 5 locks and they all win, and you're like, yeah, it made sense. The pick was good, and they won. So that's all set. That's all out there. Usually, you start, I wouldn't expect anybody to buy now. It's the end of July, but I would expect people to buy probably about this time in August. I do sell if you want to pay in installments. Like my whole year is $750. I have a few guys that they give me $250 to August, $250 September, $250 October. I'm fine with that, but I'll only give you the chunk that you're paying for. So if you give me the $250 for August, you basically get September. And then you give me the $250 in September, you buy October, and then the $250 in October, I'll give you the rest of the year. Because I've had problems where I'll buy the year, and then you give them the year password, and then they don't give you the money. I don't understand people like that. I am very, very successful with my picks. I post the history. You hear me talk about it. So if I say Detroit Green Bay over in week 1, well, you see that in my history. You see, yep, he bet over. That's what he said he was going to do. So there's no monkeying around. And as Titus can verify, he bet a 10-team parlay off of my picks and won 18,000 last year. So I do make you money. I had 4 weeks of 10-0 and a 10-1 week last year. And you can see the videos. And you can see the history. So excited about that. Let's go to baseball now. So pretty much football's all set on teaserking.com. I kind of explain what a teaser is. It's just moving a line 6 points, but you get to you got to pick 2 games, which is not a problem. And then you can do 3 or 4 team teasers to get better odds. Let's face it, we're going to find 3 or 4 games anyway. So if I like them strong, I will play a 4-team, 5-team teaser, 16. I've got posted on my Twitter account an 11-teamer and a 10-teamer that hit. So, last year I had 4 10-0s, so I would have hit 4 10-team teasers. And like I said, Titus he had a 10-team teaser and a 10-team parlay without the teaser. So he made some good money. Happy for Titus. All right. So today, let's look at baseball. But if you have football questions or comments, please ask them. All right. Baltimore at Cleveland. We got Cleveland 125-9. Charlie Morton 3-8, 5.58 against Logan Allen 6-8 with the 4.06. To me, this is an over, but this is where you go, huh? How did this happen? A 5 and a 4, and it's a 2-0 game, and that's what we get surprised on. We get surprised on earn run average, so these are averages, and we get surprised. Charlie Morton only pitched 3 innings, which then created the bullpen to come in, which they're not in the decision here. This decision is Charlie Morton pitching 7 innings, giving up 4 or 5 runs. And Logan Allen pitching 6, 7 innings, giving up 4 runs, basically on average. That's 9 runs. That's why I would bet over. Then I would look at the hitters. Does Baltimore hit? Does Cleveland hit? And then I would, so what changes is Morton goes 3 innings, gives up 4 runs, and the bullpen comes in, and they shut you out because it's all this 1 inning crap. This is the problem. So that's why I kind of lay away from these average pitchers. Morton and Logan Allen are, nothing, now if it's the Yankees or the Tigers who aren't hitting, then you bet them under because it doesn't matter who you put out there. They're not hitting. Toronto goes to Detroit today. It's 4-game weekend series. Detroit won 38.5. Eric Lauer, 5-2 with the 2.80 against Reese Olson. 4-3 with the 2.71. So this is going to be Toronto under 8.5. And this is going to be a 5-star lock. So I've got Detroit not hitting anyway. Nobody's hitting. They're an under game, right? They're playing unders. They lost 6-1 to Pitt. They couldn't score on Pitt. Reese Olson with a decent ERA, 2.71. I like Toronto to win the game, and I like the game to be under because Detroit's not hitting, but Reese Olson can maybe slow down Toronto. Detroit's a 130 favorite, which makes 0 sense. Detroit's 1-9 its last 10. Basically, the only win was Skubal 2-1. And it's amazing how bad the manager is. So Skubal played 7 innings, 80, 85 pitches, and they're winning 1-0, and he pulls them, and it's immediately the bullpen gives up the run, and it's 1-1. I really don't get this pitch count. I mean, I've been watching baseball since the 60s. I don't think I saw Koufax live. I did see Bob Gibson in the 68 World Series. And Steve Carlton and Nolan Ryan and Jack Morris and all these guys, Mickey Lolich, Denny McClain. And there's no pitch count. There's no reason for the pitch count. You let them pitch. When they get tired, you take them out. You couldn't take out Jack Morris. He couldn't play now. He would tell the manager to fuck off. You then, so you have that, and you go from there. You basically, here's Skubal, 7 innings, about 90 pitches. He certainly should have pitched the 8th inning, and then you go to your bullpen guy. You have one guy in the bullpen who can actually play, and you let him pitch the 9th. That makes sense. Taking Skubal out in the 7th doesn't make sense. You don't have an arm in the 8th. There's no reason to pull him after so few pitches. I mean, look at Verlander. You start pitch counting him, and he ends up on Houston anyway. So what are you saving him for? He had an injury, came back, finally won a game this year. But why are you babying these guys? Why, they can easily go 150, 175 pitches in a game. Nolan Ryan did it. Roger Clemens did it. Koufax, Gibson, all these guys pitched complete games. They were fine. Bob Gibson never had an arm injury. So I just don't – I think you're trying to spin the ball too much. But this whole analytics is a joke, and I wouldn't – I don't buy it. So if I'm managing the Tigers, Skubal, he's got a 1-0 lead in the 7th. He's pitching the 8th and 9th. He's not coming out because there's no reason to. They can't hit him. That's the point. So let him just finish the game. It's just amazing. Well, if he only throws 50 pitches in 7 innings, we'll let him. That's ridiculous. What's the difference between pitch 95 and pitch 125? Nothing. He can throw 125 pitches. It's I pitched. It's nothing. You just go out and pitch. You're focused on getting the guys out. You don't care. Your arm doesn't hurt. Maybe after the game your arm hurts, but not during the game. You could go 9 innings. So it's really stupid. The analytics, it's killing the game, and among other things. I don't know how much longer baseball is going to last. They're just killing it. This home run derby, all-star game, this whole 10th inning, put a guy on second, this whole pitch clock. It's just terrible. Because people like me, we enjoy, put it this way. I've been watching since the 60s, right? And I liked it. But now you're ruining. Now I don't like it anymore. And who are you catering to? The new kids don't even watch baseball. You can't even get American kids. Everybody's you're bringing in Japanese, you're bringing in Latin America, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela. You're bringing all these people in from but you don't have a lot of American kids playing. Where's Willie Mays? Where's Hank Aaron? Where's Mano? Where's these guys? No offense to the Japanese and to the Latin. I love Clemente and Juan Marshall and those guys, but you do miss the Willie Mays, the Hank Aaron, the Mantle. That's what you watch for, right? Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and you're killing it. And so I don't want to eat at this restaurant anymore. It's like you're eating at a restaurant and then they change cooks, they change menus, the food sucks. And you go, nah, I don't want to eat here anymore. And that's basically what you're doing. And so you don't want to eat there. You change restaurants. I don't like what they're doing to football, and I don't like what they're doing to baseball, and I can't stand basketball. So you're ruining the sports for whom? The kids growing up are not interested in it. All they care about is games on their iPhone and whatever little apps they're doing. So you're catering to the wrong person. You should be catering to people like me who've been fans of the sport for a while, not to the new people who aren't fans, who aren't going to the games. So I don't know. With the whole recession and the monster inflation, I really don't know. You want me to go to a Lions game and it's $350 or $500 for a seat? Yeah, I don't think so. For what? To see crap? I'm not going. Well, it's exciting. It's the environment. Well, I can go, I can go to the lake and get that. So I just don't get that. It's really bizarre. Anyway, so this is the problem. Like I said, it's like a restaurant and you change your menu. You already got everybody coming. You're crowded. Sort of like the Texas Roadhouse, right? Very crowded. We went there the other day at lunchtime. They're not open till 3:00. Like, who's running that? What an idiot! Unless they ran it at noon and they didn't get any customers, so now they're just doing a dinner service. But I thought it was weird. It is kind of more of a steakhouse, so maybe they don't think they'll sell steaks at lunch, or people don't have the time. I don't know. But let's say they change their menu, so you'll like it. But let's say they change their menu to fish or tuna or whatever. Everybody comes for the steak, so you're hurting yourself there. But if you got customers, you don't change unless you don't have customers. So a quick little economics thing. So the dollar is going out. Nobody wants it. The change has happened. So big problems there. All right. Anyway, so we're going under Detroit, Toronto. Again, a 2.8 ERA against a 2.7 ERA. Comerica Park is a bigger stadium. Detroit has not hit. They are not hitting. They hit Pitt. They lost 8-4 one game, but it was like they got shut out and they got one run. So they're just not. They're hitting. They're under like the Yankees. So until they start scoring, then that's it. Now, the difference was the Yankees had guys injured, came back. Detroit doesn't. Detroit's terrible. All right, so we're going to see Detroit. Guess what? Toronto's got a better record than them now, right? Everybody, oh, they got the best record. They're the best team. Well, they don't anymore. Toronto is 60-42. Detroit 60-43. Toronto's got a better team. So they must be better then because they have a better record, if that's how you're measuring it. Detroit's falling apart. They might be lucky to win 80 games. They've won 60, but the way they're playing, they couldn't beat a high school team. All right. San Diego at St. Louis. St. Louis 150-8. Darvish for San Diego 0-2 with the 6.08. He just came back against Sonny Gray 9-4 to 4.04. I would normally think this would be an under with Darvish, or I'd bet Darvish, but he's just he's from Japan, so he's probably being tariffed. So he's pitched 3 games, 3 innings, gave up 2 runs to Arizona, 4 innings, gave up 4 runs to Philly, and against Washington, 5 innings and gave up 3 runs. So he's not Darvish. He's not very good. He's good for 3 or 4 innings, and he's still giving up 3 or 4 runs. Sonny Gray, 9-4 to 4.04. So this is, do I want to go over San Diego? San Diego's got hitting. St. Louis kind of has hitting, and then they don't have hitting. This is where you got to watch the injuries and who comes back. So we'll have to update it. Right now, I have no interest. Boy, there's not a lot of games. All right. Next game is Oakland at Houston. Luis Cervino 3-11 with the 5.10 against Jason Alexander from Seinfeld, 1-0 with an 8.40. He's not a good pitcher either. Houston 125, 8.5. Pretty good hitting. I think this is an over, but I don't really want to bet. But Oakland hits, and Houston can hit. It's at Houston. Terrible pitching. Let's go over in this game. Let's go Houston over 8.5. And we'll go 2 units. And I really need to keep track a little bit more of every team, kind of have a whole, are they hitting? Are they not hitting? And, how are they playing? So I need a spreadsheet. And this is how I think. How can I, figure this out? And part of it is, well, not only is it a win or loss thing, but it's, are they hitting or not? Like the Yankees were under and the Tigers are under. And so you're looking at not only winning versus losing, but over versus under, because we can bet that too. So I really need a chart where I'm seeing these teams are over, these teams are under, these teams are winning and losing. Now the winning and losing I have from the standings, because they give you win streaks and losing streaks, but the overs and unders I don't. In football I have it, because football I download the stats. Maybe I can look and see about that. Let's check that in a minute. But I'm really looking at the average for the year. So I see the Lions give up 30 points on defense. They have a weak defense. Baltimore gives up 18. Okay, so I'm not really looking game by game. I'm looking at the season, but it's only 17 games, where this is just every day. So you really got to spend time, but that's what you figure out, right? You're figuring out all this thing. All right, so let's go over there. But let's assume Oakland and Houston are either scoring a lot or not scoring a lot. Last game, Seattle at California. California 150-9, big favorite. Logan Evans 3-3 with the 3.81 for Seattle. Yusi Kikuchi 4-6 with the 3.13. This always bothers me. The guy has a 3 ERA, but he's 4-6. He has no record. He doesn't win. He loses. Now Scanes is different. Scanes is losing because they're not hitting. So I was happy to see Scanes win, but you see Scanes with like a 4-9 record with the 2 ERA, and you're like, what the fuck? And then Max Fried has a very good record with a good ERA. Now the hidden thing here is the amount of time playing. It's a grind. It's 162 games over basically April, May, June, July, August, September, basically over 6 months. They touch a little bit of May a day and a little bit of October, maybe a weekend. But basically, it's 6 months: May, June, April, May, June, July, August, September. And it's a grind. And these pitchers are going every fifth day. Although the fact if it's 90 pitches or 110 is immaterial, that doesn't help them because when you pitch, you pitch. So you might as well get 110 pitches out of them. That's not going to hurt them. What hurts them is going every fifth day for month after month after month. And they eventually get a little bit tired, a little bit bored. I'm going to try to, they just get tired. And that's what we're looking at. That's why you see all these streaks. The Tigers were hot and now they hit the button and now they're cold. And you can't just get the hot button back. And they're all tired. And the manager's clueless and now they're losing. What was working isn't, but the manager can't figure it out. He would toy with pinch hitting, but now it's not working. Nobody's hitting because you got them everywhere in the lineup. You got, they don't know if they're coming or going. They're playing every position. So it ends up being a very, very weak team. They were good. So if you look at their total record, the Tigers 60-43. 60-43, you go, oh, that's pretty good. But if you break it into segments, the first 40 games and now the last, well, let's say 50-50. The first 50, they were really good, but the last 50, they've sucked. And that's what that's why you look at streaks. I do that in football a lot. If you look at the total year, let's say you're in week 14 and you look at the total year, oh, they're pretty good. But when you break it apart, and I do this a lot, I look at the last 6 games, right? So I look at the lines, especially the last 6 games, their defense is maybe a 23, but the last 6 games, their defense is a 30. They start getting injuries. It depends who they played. They're playing Buffalo and Green Bay, and they're scoring a lot of points, and you realize, their defense is a 30. Even though the whole year it might be a 23. We don't care about that because you're looking at the beginning, but we're looking at, give me the last 6 games. And then football, that's huge. I do it in college and pro. And that's a very important thing because they change, they get injuries, they get people back, and you want to see how they're playing now. And that's the key to it. So we need to just keep track of the over-unders a little bit more. So Seattle, LA, Logan Evans, UC Kikuchi, 9. Seattle's been hitting. They hit very well on the road. LA has been hitting, but I don't like the slow ERAs in the 9. So I think this will go over, but I'm not going to play it. So that's it. There's just 1, 2, 3, 4. There's just 5 games. Baltimore, Cleveland starts at 1:10, and then everything else is at night. So I'm going to go Toronto under 8.5 because Detroit can't score right now. It'll change, but right now they 6-1 to Pittsburgh with their third or fourth pitcher. Yikes! And in Detroit, they're not going to hit as well. It's a big ballpark. And then we'll go Houston over 8.5. We got a 5 ERA against an 8 ERA. And they both can hit. Oakland hits pretty well. Now, granted, they hit better at Oakland because they're playing the minor league park, and the same thing with Tampa. They're not in their stadiums, so it's easier. So the runs look better, but Houston's a very small ballpark too, so they should be able to hit it. So those are just the 2 games. I only have 5, and I'm not forcing. I don't force. If it looks good, I do it. So those are your 2 games today. Anything else, Real D, as far as win totals? So I kind of went over. We'll do it again. We'll kind of go over. We'll just go through the teams. So if I just go through the teams, The Jets, terrible, right? Miami, terrible. New England, terrible. And Buffalo should sweep them. So Buffalo's the A team there, and the rest are terrible teams. Cincinnati will be much better. I'm not worried about Hendrickson playing. I'm sure he will, because you don't want to give up a couple $1 million by sitting out. Eventually, you go back to work because you're playing a profession like football. You're going to get hurt. So if you're going to play this profession, you've got to be very careful about. You only have 6, 7 years, right? Look at Hutchinson. His career might be over with the broken legs. So Hutchinson only has a few years. He's already played a few years. So he can sit there and cry and bitch, I want more money. But at the end of the day, he's making millions. At the end of the day, he's got to shut the fuck up and go play, because you can't get it back. So if you sit out this year, you only hurt yourself. It's a bluff because you're hoping that they play you, but you got Joe Burrow and Chase. You probably have the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl if you play. So what are you doing? I'm going to sit out. Why? You signed a contract, just honor the contract and the next one. So look for Cincinnati. I think Hutchinson plays. They're going to be really tough after losing last year. You got a guy like Burrow and you got a guy like Chase. Look out. Cleveland will suck, especially if they use Prime Jr. They use Dylan Gabriel, they'll be better. But again, I don't feel they're strong enough. Baltimore is well overrated because Lamar isn't that good, as we see by all his playoff wins. So Baltimore can beat, they're going to have a tough time with Pittsburgh. They played Cincinnati 36-35 a couple times last year. So Cincinnati scores on them. Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers, we'll see. He's Aaron Rodgers. Like, what the fuck? Like Tom Brady. He won a Super Bowl with Tampa. So I think they're making more out of the age thing. And the Jets, really, he was fine with Devontae Adams there. You had bad coaching. You want to blame Aaron Rodgers because the offensive coordinator has head up his ass? I don't know. And the coach couldn't control it. So I don't know. It was a very strange situation, but that's what's always the case with the Jets. So I think Pitt with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae and TK Metcalf, they got the running back from Iowa who's really good, and the defense. Pittsburgh should be a lot better with Aaron Rodgers. Jacksonville sucks. Trevor Lawrence sucks. Tennessee, Cam Ward sucks. Indy, they're thinking about Daniel Jones. They're in big trouble. Houston, good defense, weak quarterback, injures a lot in their offense. So we'll see. They're not as good as you think, but they seem to have a good defense if they can stay healthy. So we'll see. Because that's the thing. They look like terrible against Jacksonville, Tennessee. And then they play the Lions, and they play a great game. Stroud throws up an interception that, like, a 10th grader would throw. Like, he just blooped it in the end zone, and the guy picked it off, came 20 yards away, picked it off. This is the problem with C.J. Stroud. He's not very good. He's not very smart. He went to Ohio State. They don't teach their quarterbacks a lot. So that's what you're really looking at. Joe Burrow was nothing at Ohio State until he went to LSU, and then he played well. So keep that in mind. So C.J. Stroud's not that good. So you got a good defense. They're probably a good under team, but again, I would just avoid all that over under. Denver, very good team. Kansas City, Super Bowl team. Oakland will be much better. Crosby's back. They got a few good defensive players with them. You got Coach Pete, Geno Smith, but you got Brock Bowers and you got Gentry. Look for them to play Army-Navy. They're going to run the ball and play defense. And then San Diego, I don't like Harbaugh. I do like Justin Herbert. I don't know their running backs. Lance McConkey is not a great receiver. The only thing good about him is he went to Georgia. But basically, they blew having Brock Bowers was their big mistake. So, they grabbed the tight end this year. Well, he's no Brock Bowers, right? So San Diego's iffy. They let Boza go. You got Khalil Mack, who's I don't know if he's still there. So you got problems. So I don't know. I think it's Kansas City and Denver, and then San Diego and Oakland won't be far behind. And in the NFC, Dallas overrated. Dak Prescott stinks. You've added this guy from Pittsburgh, Pickens, the receiver, with CeeDee Lamb. Well, he's throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb every time. I don't get picking up Pickens. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If I have CeeDee Lamb, he's getting the ball 90% of the time. It's sort of like what the Bears did. They had DJ Turner or whatever, DJ Moore. He's their primary, and then you brought in Keenan Allen. Well, Keenan Allen didn't get the ball because he's going to DJ Moore all of a sudden. So, you got to be careful. That's not – you needed more defense. Bringing in a stud defensive player would have made more sense than bringing in George Pickens, who's a head case. So Prescott, 2 interceptions a game, just not very good. Philly, Super Bowl. Washington will be very good with Jalen Daniels now having a second year. They've got Cliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator. Look for them to score. The defense hopefully got a little better, but that's what's going to be their Achilles. The Giants will be better with Russell Wilson and Scatterboo. Scatterboo had 1,700 yards and like 21 touchdowns. He's very good in the first downs, and he's very good getting touchdowns. Look for the Giants to a little more ball control and score more, especially when they get into the red zone with Scatterboo. Neighbors is very good. And the defense, we'll see. You got the same coach, so you're still going to have a weak defense. But they're not a Z team. They've up, Daniel Jones, you got Russell Wilson. He's still good. I don't care. I mean, people like, oh, he sucks. No, he doesn't suck. He's good. Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago. Detroit has coordinator problem, new coordinators. The center's gone. You still have the defensive end. Hutchinson is injured. We'll see. You've lost a few other defensive linemen. So they're going to have a strong offense and a weak defense. The offense is so balanced and a good offensive line, although they lost the center. But still, Goff's average. He's not very good, but you got running backs that are good, and you got a line that's good, and you got the receivers that are good. So the key is going to be injuries. When they start getting their injuries, who are they going to? Are they going to lose St. Thomas? Are they going to lose the running back? Are they going to lose Golf? Who's I'd rather see Hooker. I don't get the Golf thing. He's never won a big game in his life. So what do you when he was with the Rams, the running back, once in a while, I remember his name. The running back was the reason they won, the guy from Georgia. That was so they'd hand him the ball, and then it was a little play action pass, and that's what Goff did. But against New England in the Super Bowl, he didn't do shit. They were all over the play action pass, and they didn't let the guy run. They had a 6-man line and said, Goff, you beat us, and Goff couldn't beat him because Goff can't win big games. So that's the problem with the Lions. They'll probably split with Green Bay and Minnesota. Maybe they beat the Bears. The Bears won't be that good. Minnesota, McCarthy's not the answer. And Green Bay loves okay, but I don't know. He has good games and bad. He's all right. I don't understand their first-round picks. Another wide receiver. They got 5 or 6 of them, so I was kind of surprised by that. They needed defensive help. Tampa, excellent, and Atlanta in the South are very good teams. Look for Penix. They have a big year with Atlanta. They've got B.J. Robinson to run, and then they've got the receivers, so look for balance there. New Orleans, they got to go to Hagner if they want to win at quarterback. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. Bad coach. Carolina stinks. Steve Young. Arizona, I don't know. Kyler Murray, never seems to win. The guy from Ohio State, Harrison's terrible. The Rams, I like. You've added Devontae Adams with Puka Nacua and Stafford. And the coach, I knew his name. Now I forgot it. Damn. I looked at the name. I go, okay, now I got it. Sean McVay. There you go. So you got Sean McVay and that offense, and they got a pretty good defense. I think the Rams could win the West. The Niners will be right there. McCaffrey's playing. Debu Samuel is, I think, on Washington. Ayuk's out. They've got Jennings and a couple other guys. Tutu Atwell. No, he's on the Rams. But they'll have some receivers and McCaffrey, and they'll have a good defense. So I look at the Rams and the Niners there. Seattle doesn't have a chance. You've got Darnold, who's not very good. He was good on Minnesota because he could throw the ball to Jefferson. And you notice they didn't have a short passing game. And against the Lions, they blitzed them, and they couldn't do anything because you couldn't get the ball to Jefferson because they got to him too quick. You didn't have short passes. So Minnesota's got problems with their offense, and then Seattle's going to have problems with their offense, with Darnell. Doesn't have a Jefferson, doesn't have DK Metcalf, doesn't have Tyler Lockett there. They're in big trouble. I do like their running back from Michigan State is good. Defense, they're always average. I don't like the coach. So that's what you got. So we'll get into A teams and E teams. Let's see. Anything on eBay? There's a lot what I'm running into. BRICS just banned SWIFT. China blocks war metals. U.S. shut out of 1.2 trillion. So I keep reading these things on BRICS, on China, and then I see China's broke. Their population, they can't use the dollar anymore. So it all comes back to this. Everybody dealing in this has massive inflation, right? That's just the way it is. You have massive inflation, and you've the way it's set up, the government has to go into debt, and then they have to keep printing. That's the Keynesian playbook, the communist. And so how do you pay for your debt? Well, you print more money, which puts you bigger in debt. So it's like having a credit card that you owe 10 grand on, and you take out another credit card to pay the credit card, but then you got to pay the new credit card. That's what's happening to every country who's backed by monopoly money dollars, right? The euro, the Swiss franc, the British pound, Canadian, the yuan, the yen, the renminbi, the Indian. Pakistan's gone out. Sri Lanka's gone out. Greece has gone out. Germany is now bankrupt. So the entire world is bankrupt. And they want to use digital dollars. Now, digital dollars are not any better. So instead of having a paper dollar, you have a digital dollar. Sort of like going to the grocery store, you use your credit card. Well, you're not really pulling money out. You're using a card with the money on it, but it's your money and you control it. And that's the big key. But every country's got the same problem. They have to keep printing to pay for their debt, to pay for the Social Security or pension, as it's called in Europe. They call it pensions. We call it Social Security. You have big problems with everybody's dollar because the population's getting older. Because after World War II, everybody had baby boomers. So everybody had a lot of babies after World War II. And now we're getting older. You've got to pay our pensions and Social Security. But the way the game's played, it was all a Ponzi scheme. I'm paying somebody else and somebody's paying for me. Well, why didn't you just let me pay for myself? So this is what you have. So digital doesn't help you. Stay away from digital. Stay away from, we won't have CBDCs in America. We'll have stable coins, which are the same. be careful with these digital ledgers. They can see everything you're doing. Right now, I can go golfing and I can pull $50 out of my wallet and give them cash. They don't know I golfed. Or I go to the grocery store, or I go to the restaurant. They don't know what I'm doing. Usually, the credit card, they have an idea, but they can't really stop it. Once you get to these CBDCs or stable coins or something where they start controlling it, and they go, no, 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 you've already golfed this week, you can't golf again, or oh no, you can't buy meat, or you can't you can't go to Amsterdam, you can't go to Vegas, and this is the problem. Then they start controlling you, and we don't want to lose control. So this is the problem with the CBDCs and or the regular dollars. They're very bad. So you want to keep your cash. You want to buy your gold and silver because of this, but each country's doing the same thing. We're printing money to pay for the debt, to pay for the Social Security and Medicare, to pay for government employees. This is why you can't have large government, because large government, you have to pay for it. That's why you need a small government, and everything needs to be private sector, right? Ford, GM, Mercedes, that's private. That's what runs the country, not the government. Printing money does not run the country. So you need to understand that. So everybody is going broke because you can't sustain it. You have to keep printing, and again, the more you print, the less it's worth. So all the monies are gone. The U.S., our money's worthless, right? It's Egon says 99% gone. I say 100% gone, because if it's 99, it's 100. People take it because the government forces. So you go to Kroger's to buy goods. Does Kroger's really want money? No, but they have to take it because the government says you must take the dollars when people go shopping. And so Kroger's might take it and then might go buy gold and silver with it. My friend at Toyota, he knows his buddy runs a one of the part companies that gives parts to Toyota. And every day he pays his bills, and the rest he buys gold and silver with. Pretty smart guy. So it's okay to take the dollar as long as you can get rid of it. So when I go to the gold store and I go, my only concern is you stop taking the dollars for the gold. He says, no, don't worry about that. I'm not going to do that, because he still pays the bills with the dollars. So he gets in my $3,500 for the gold. He then has payroll and rent paid, but he needs the dollars to pay it. So he'll keep taking it until he can't take the dollar to pay off the payroll and the store and the inventory he buys, and that he can still use dollars with. But I am warning him, it's not going to last. It won't keep lasting. It does last a little longer because the rich people don't want to see it go. Warren Buffett, who has $200 billion, doesn't want to hear his dollars are worthless. So he's going to scream and cry, oh no, don't take my money. But that's where it's headed. Now, Trump, on the other hand, supposedly buys gold. So he probably doesn't care. He's rich, but if he's rich in real estate and then probably gold and silver. So that's why you switch your money to gold and silver, because gold and silver is not worthless. Gold and silver is worth a lot. It's the dollar that's worthless. So the key is to get out of the dollar and into gold and silver, which is why we're buying gold and silver heavily now. So you're a country, you're China, and you're printing money, and you got to pay your debt. You got to pay your military, and then you've got to pay the pensions and unemployment, and then there's this big government because it's communism. And so you got to pay your officials. Well, where do we get the money? I got to print it. So that's why China's broke, because there's just too many people. They say 1.4 billion, but I've heard it's like 800 million. Big deal, right? But they got to pay the government employees, because that's how it comes. And all these regulations and tariffs have hurt their economy. And a lot of people are leaving, going to Singapore and Hong Kong and Vietnam. Korea. They're leaving China. Some of the billionaires are going to Dubai. That's a safe haven for rich people. So that's basically what's happening, um, and why every country's going broke. It's the big government. It's the uh, it's the debt. It's the uh, pensions of the older people. There's also less people working, which means they get less in tax revenue. So before, as the baby boomers were in their 30s and 40s, we're working, we're paying tax. So they got plenty of money to pay the retirees. But as now that we're the class that's retiring, we want our money, but there's less people working. Or if they're not, like they're not working now, they're just playing Bitcoin or video games and living at home with mom and dad so they don't need to work. And that's what's happening with a lot of people is they're not working. Um, they're working, they're just working less, or they're just investing in Bitcoin, going, I don't need a job, I'll just do this. But they don't take the Bitcoin, so they don't recognize the gain and they don't pay the tax on it. So there's less tax coming in, more government spending, higher debts, 37 trillion, ring a bell. So you got to keep printing and printing. And as you print more money, what they were doing was printing the treasury bills. So those are bonds, which are IOUs. So China would sell us goods, right? Nikes and golf clubs and tennis rackets and shirts, and they'd make it for us, and we would pay them, and they would get money. Well, what are they going to do with the U.S. dollars? It's China; they don't use them, so they would buy the treasuries with it, which is our debt. So it allows us to then go ahead and pay all the bills I just mentioned: the debt, the pensions, the Social Securities, the Medicares, and the big government. But China's like worried, no, you're inflating your dollar. You're printing too much. It's worthless. So I don't want to hold dollars anymore. So they're dumping it. They're saying, here, I'm going to cash in these treasuries and I want my money. And then so the US pays them off and then they go buy gold with it. And that's what's happening all over the world. Everybody's dumping the dollar and buying gold and silver. The US cannot sell their treasuries because nobody wants it. Wait a minute, you got to pay, you got 37 trillion in debt, soon going to 40. When am I going to get my $100,000 in treasuries? Oh, you're not getting it. So this is the problem. So that's why if you can't sell your treasuries, everybody smells what's cooking. They smell that you have no money, your treasuries. You can't even sell your treasuries to get money in to pay these expenses I'm telling you about. So then they sit there and go, I don't want US dollars. So I go buy gold because everybody knows that's safe because you can't inflate gold. You can't print gold. That's why gold's safe. It's very much desired and demanded, but you can't print it. So there's 200,000 tons of it, and that's it. There's no more. But you got the whole world needing gold, so the demand is like for 500,000 tons. But we only got 200,000 tons. So that's why the price should be much higher. And it's bullshit, and COMEX should be blowing up soon. Maybe it's the end of July, who knows? But it should be soon, especially with Basel III in place. So this is what you have with the whole world is in the same boat because nobody's smart enough to have a gold standard, which would limit the amount of dollars printed, which would keep the value of the dollar attached to gold, which is what you should be doing. Anybody with a brain would do that. But since nobody's doing it, everybody's dollar, any country where they don't back it by gold, and the only one that I know is Zimbabwe, has a problem. And it's all coming to the forefront. Everybody needs to buy gold, and that's it. So that's really the problem. So when you have treasuries, you're trying to get money to pay your expenses, to pay the government employees. So right now, if you work for the DOD, let's say, they have to print money to pay you because the government pays you, but The DOD doesn't produce revenue. Uh, you know, the White House doesn't produce revenue. Nobody produces revenue because it's a government. It's not a revenue based thing. They do things and they don't produce revenue. They get the lobbyists give them money. So that's why the people run for office is the lobbyists give them $1 million and control their votes. So it's really a bad government right now. But nobody in government, there's no revenue. The revenue is the taxes. That's not revenue. You're stealing from us so you can what? That's crazy. And that's not how it was set up. People say change the Constitution. No, the Constitution is fine. You've went off the Constitution. You've not kept gold and silver, which you were supposed to. You created a central bank, which you're not supposed to. So it's all stealing. It's all made off. It's all a Ponzi scheme. It's all you're stealing. You're printing money that you have no business doing with no limits, and the money you're printing is worthless. So the solution is gold because you can't print it, but they don't want that. They don't want to be limited. They want to be able to keep printing, but they don't understand is you can't keep printing because once you do that, it becomes worthless. And the Keynesians have a hard time. You'll hear them on YouTube and like Jim Rickards. Oh, we can just keep printing. No, yeah, you could, but the value of the money that you're printing is worthless. Then I hear some other guys. Well, they'll just inflate away the debt. How are you going to do that? Well, we'll just keep printing money till it's worthless, and then the 37 trillion. How does that go away? What are you talking about? Inflate away the debt? You can't inflate away the debt. You still owe the debt. And then you're going to come out with another currency, USD2 or backed by gold. You're still going to owe the debt. China's not going anywhere. They want their money, or whoever you owe the debt to wants their money. It's a lot of pensions and retirement plans. It's a lot of other countries. So if they have treasuries, so say Germany's got, $100 billion in treasuries, they're going to want the money. Well, we'll just make our money worthless, and we're not going to pay you. No, that doesn't work. You can't do that. So we'll see what happens, but this is the problem. So keep that in mind. This is happening all over, which then, okay, what's the way out? Oh, gold. Because you can't print it, I'll get rid of dollars. I'll Rumpelstiltskin. I'll trade this for dollars. That's why you have gold and silver. Why gold and silver? Why not other things? You can buy other things. They have to be real assets. A Picasso, a Rolex, or one of these fancy, I don't know all the watches, but a nice watch, a nice asset. The house, no, because the house will lose its value. So everything in dollars loses its value, which then creates, you've got nothing there, right? The house is worthless in dollars, but then everything gets repriced and whatever new dollar you're coming. So the system works with the medium of exchange. You have to have a dollar. You can't print it to death. So you'll come out with a new dollar. They want to come out with stable coins or CBDCs, something digital, but it won't work if it's controlling us. Oh, you want to go to the grocery store? Sorry, you can't do that. You can't buy this. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't buy liquor. You can't buy meat. No, you can't control people with it. So people will not accept it. So it's very difficult to see what's going on with it. That's why we like the dollar, because we can come and go as we please and do what we want. That's what life is. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We need these to pursue happiness and liberty. I don't know why they think they can control us. This is communism at its finest. We'll control the people. Hitler did that, where there was gun control, so you couldn't just stroll out of the house. You had the SS and Gestapo watching you. So this is the problem. So you have to keep it free. So you always want money. The problem is the money's not worth anything. So you'll keep the gold and silver, or the Picasso, or the Rolex, or the Mickey Mantle card, and those are assets that, even though they're valued in dollars, doesn't need to be. So the gold will be valued in gold, and the silver valued in silver. They won't necessarily be valued in dollars. The Bitcoin, however, is valued in dollars. If the dollar goes away, there is no such thing as a Bitcoin, since it's digital and it's not real. What's the value? Well, I don't know. It's valued in dollars, and the dollar's worthless. So this is the problem. At the grocery store, everything will have to be changed to whatever the new currency is. So if it's USD number 2, if it's USD backed by gold, they'll have to adjust the prices to make it common. If they go to these stable coins, then that's what we'll use, is the stable coin. And that'll be, somehow factored into going to Kroger's, paying your mortgage, paying your car payment. So that's going to be a change. So we will see. But the gold and silver will always have value because it's always demanded. It's just, how do we value it? Is it going to be dollars? Is it going to be USD2? Or we're just going to make the dollar gold back in case we'll have the gold. So we have to see. They must have something as a medium of exchange. This is a medium of exchange. I get paid, I have this, and I can go buy stuff with it. That's the exchange part of it. And we've come up with this as the most convenient and best thing to do. Lately, we've come out with electronics, so we made it debit and credit cards. Okay, that's fine. That's what we've chosen to do. So I don't have to walk around with, $500. I don't need any money in my wallet. I just use electric. I just hit the debit card, and then I got to pay the debit card. Hit the credit card, and I got to pay the credit card. So that's kind of what you're doing. The gold will always hold its value, so we will see. So that's why you buy the real assets, because the dollars is what you shouldn't be touching. You shouldn't be printing it. You should never have a monopoly by the Federal Reserve to print money, run by JP Morgan. So you've got a lot of problems there that you've taken out. The more competition, the better, because then you can't really have this problem. If you had 3 or 4 big banks printing money, that's what they had in the 1800s. There'd be 4 or 5 banks printing money, and if one inflated, you would just go to the other banks and tell the other bank to fuck off. Here, you can't. You only have this Fed is all you got, and they're printing the money. So even though they run it, there's nowhere else to go. This is the problem with monopolies. So again, keep that in mind. You want to you want to think, this is no good. How do I problem solve it? And I go into gold and silver. They can't print gold and silver. You can't even I'll just make it all. I'll make it all bronze, and I'll just put a little gold over the top. No, you can't do that, because first of all, the magnet, if it sticks, it's fake. And then there's machines. If you go into the gold shop, can you just test this? And they can test how much that's gold or it's not gold. And so it's pretty infallible that you can't screw the gold up or the silver. You can't counterfeit it, because there's too many different things to test it. And that's where we're at. So you've got all these countries. Now, BRICS has figured it out. They're all buying gold because they figured out gold can't be inflated, and we don't want the dollar. It's not worth anything. Now, you hear Putin, it's like a Snickers wrapper. It's a candy wrapper. it's not worth anything. So look for BRICS to start coming out with gold backed currency soon. They have the gold, that's why, and the gold price should be much higher. It's being manipulated by COMEX with options instead of physical, right? Should be, oh, I bought gold, the price goes up. But if we all went and bought 100 tons of gold, if everybody did, the price of gold wouldn't go up. It wouldn't go up a penny because it doesn't matter. That's not what drives it. Or if everybody sold 100 tons of gold, the price wouldn't go down. It's all controlled by options. And that's the problem with COMEX, and we hate COMEX. We just want to get a real price. We can get a real price of this because if they put it on the grocery store and it's $50, that's the price. If people buy it, if like I said initially with the dark chocolate, they raised the price of the dark chocolate from like 2 something to 4 something. Let's say 4.75. Well, if nobody buys it, then the price drops because nobody's buying it. So we can see that nobody wants it. The price is too high. They have to lower the price because the demand from the people don't want to pay it. That's clear and obvious, but that's not what you have with gold and silver. You don't have what it's going for, and they use it. So if I look at gold and silver, let's take a quick look at that. So right now, gold's 33.71 and silver's 39.02. These prices are phony. 39.02 is just options, and 33.71 is just options. They're not real prices. They're not physically supply and demand prices as you would for the whiskey or for the dark chocolate. And this is the problem. And therefore, you're looking at it and you're just but what you go to if I go to the gold store, it's 33.71. I would pay 34.81. He's $110 over. They're 110 over. That's what you got. Let's see. I'm waiting on this email. Okay. Perfect. All right. So that's the problem, right? They're using this option price to price gold and silver at the gold store. So like I say, if I went today, it would be 34. He's 110 over. So the spot's 33.71. You can buy it for 34.71, which is good. But when you sell it, it's worth a lot more than 33.71, but that's all you would get for it. That's the problem with the way COMEX is set up. When the price drops, it's just options. It's not the market controlling it. We're a free market society, which means the public determines prices by buying and selling. So in other words, if nobody buys this, this is worthless. If people will pay $100 for the bottle, that's the value. People paid $100 for this. But the market controls it. We do not have the market controlling gold and silver. We have options controlling it. And this is the problem. But when we go buy it, we're getting a huge advantage. Silver at $39. So I'm $2 over. I paid $41. That's a joke. Because it's worth at least $500 to $1,000 silver per ounce if you allow a free market, because there's so much demand for it. And as gold gets more expensive and people need to get out of this because this is worthless because they printed it to death. Well, as you understand that, you then have the more you understand it, then you have the gold. The the more you understand it, we want a higher gold price. We know that we realize the gold's worth more, right? Because we don't understand the price. Why isn't gold going up? Everybody's buying it. All the BRICS countries are buying it. Why is it not going up? Because it's not priced in that. It's priced in options, which are controlled, which they're going to be shit out of luck because people will ask for delivery of the gold and silver and they're going to have to buy it, which there's not a lot of gold and silver left to buy. So therefore they won't be able to get it and they won't. And then that'll end COMEX, and that's happening very soon. But right now, what we want is a fair price of gold or silver. So silver should be, let's say, $500 an ounce, but we're getting 40. So we bought a bunch, but we can't sell it because we know it's not at its real market price yet. It's at this fictitious COMEX option price. And that's the problem. So that's what we're looking at is this this price that's phony. And so that's why we want to buy now, but we don't want to sell. So are they keeping it down for buyers? Well, I think they were keeping it down, and BRICS ate up all the gold and silver. The U.S. wasn't smart enough, or London, to actually buy it at this cheap price. So the U.S. maybe is buying it. Maybe that's why they're keeping the price down so they can buy it now that Trump's in office. Are they buying a lot of gold? Well, we hope so. We hope they go on a gold-backed currency versus these stable coins versus the CBDCs. We don't want to be controlled. And you won't be controlled if it's a gold-backed currency. The prices will adjust because it is backed by gold. So your $500,000 house turns into probably a $60,000 house in gold currency. Maybe not even that. Maybe a $20,000 house in gold. And then the ounce of gold will go way up. So it'll be $20,000, $30,000 for an ounce because now everybody needs gold. And the reason is there's not enough. When you only have 200,000 tons and you have 800,000 tons worth of demand, how do you sell it to the other 600,000 people who want to buy gold? Price has to go up. So we'll see a boost in gold and silver. It's all coming. The best example, and the reason I use this Titanic, is the iceberg hit the boat. What's the next step? And the next step is the boat fills with water and the boat sinks. But before that, you'd get off into the lifeboat. Water coming in, I get in the lifeboat, boat fills up with water, the boat sinks, but I'm already in the lifeboat. So that's what we're doing now. The gold and silver are the lifeboats. The mantle cards are the lifeboats. The Rolexes are the lifeboats. So you're in the lifeboat because these will all hold their value based on demand. And even if you have gold, you'll still want a mantle card. So we're in the lifeboat now, and everybody's going, well, when's it going to sink? And like they want a day. When's it going to sink? All I know is it's filling with water as they keep printing more and more money, and you go to the grocery store and everything's $5. So as that's going, you see more and more of it. So the tendency is, the tendency is, I'm thinking a couple different things. So the tendency is that you see these prices go up is that the dollar is worthless. So that's the tendency, is to take the printing of the money to pay off the debt, to pay off the government workers, to pay off Social Security, and nobody wants your debt. So you keep printing and printing and printing, which puts more dollars. That's the iceberg. And then you can see what's happening. Well, that's the iceberg, then you're then going to go and see what's going to happen. I'm in the lifeboat, and what you're waiting for is the boat to sink, which is this. So as this is going out, we are already in the lifeboat. And what I tend to tell people who are worried, what if gold doesn't go up? Well, for sure the dollar is going out. That's for sure, because they keep printing it and they keep needing and spending and the debt and the Social Security. So you see all that. So that's the water coming in. So if the water's coming in the boat, it's going to sink. This is going to sink. They're preparing CBDCs, stable coins, something. So that's that. So we're in the lifeboat, which is gold and silver and mantle cards and stuff like that. And that's the lifeboat. So we're in a lifeboat, but we're waiting for the boat to sink, and then all our wealth triples or quadruples, because then the demand floods into that. So now everybody wants gold, price goes up. Silver price, everybody wants the Rolex, price goes up. And that's what's happening. So the price is going up slowly. So the question is, when does the dollar collapse? It's doing it. It's the Titanic's sinking in the water. When's our gold and silver going up? Well, we have this COMEX thing pushing down, but we have China and Russia, and the Russian exchange and the Chinese exchange of pushing the price up, getting a physical price, getting away from these options controlling the price into the free market controlling the price. China and Russia and all BRICS want the gold price to go up because they have the gold. We don't want the gold price to go up because we don't have any gold. There's no gold in Fort Knox. I heard there's some gold coming into COMEX. Well, that's just to pay off people because of Basel III. So if the Chinese have taken delivery of all these options you're doing, well, you need the gold to pay it off. That's why the gold's coming in, is to pay off the Chinese on these options that they took. And if you don't pay them off, then say goodbye to COMEX, because now the game's over. Now people want delivery and the COMEX game's ending. So that's what's happening. So the question is, well, when's gold and silver going up? Well, we know it's going up. It's just when. And it's when is COMEX sinking? And that's the other question. Well, it's sinking now, and that's what we're waiting on. So that's the story. That's what's happening, but it's happening with every country. And because for some reason the price of gold's controlled by COMEX, which I don't understand, why would a paper price control physical price? This makes no sense to me. Physical should be for this, just like in this at the grocery store is the price of this whiskey. And if the dark chocolate, you put it out for $4.75 and nobody wants it, and they got to go, well, buy one, get one half off. Okay, so now it's like $3 something for the dark chocolate. Okay, I'll buy it. For something, I'm not. So again, but that's the real price. They tried making it higher, but they did. Now, if the dark chocolate was in options, we'd make it $1, and I'd go buy it for $1, or I'd go buy the whiskey for $1. That's why you can't use options. You've got to use the market. You've got to put it on the shelf and see if the customer wants it. If he doesn't, you've already paid as the grocery store. You need to sell it so you get to the price of the market. But in COMEX, we don't know what the market is. So as I show, the real price of gold is here. The COMEX price is here, the 33.70, but the real price is here. This is unknown. I guess this is really at least 10 to 15,000. The COMEX price is here. So how do we figure out this price is the question. And it's the same with silver. Silver real price is here. My guess is at least 500, and we're at 39. So how do we get away from the options and derivatives and get to the physical market, where I go into the silver store and, well, I'm going to sell it for 500 and I'll buy it. Okay, now it's worth 500 because I bought it. Prices tell you what the value is. Demand and supply tell you what the value is. So when nobody wants this, it has no value. That's why I'm saying it's 100% gone. Nobody wants our treasuries because they're not going to get paid back. Nobody wants our dollar. So if Trump thinks he's tariffing people, nobody wants the dollar anyway. So I don't know what Trump's even playing the tariff game. We all know tariffs don't work. Free trade is the key. That's the successful country has free trade. Where did where's my little thing on that? To become a financial power, you must have low taxes because you want the people to keep their money. You must have free trade. It's the most important because you need items like Germany in World War II needed oil. So does Japan. They need oil. So does China. There's no oil on that part. So they must trade for oil. That's why they trade with Russia and Saudi Arabia for their oil because they needed it. But then they make parts that Russia and Saudi Arabia need. So they trade oil for these parts. You must have law and you must have stable money, which is gold because we know what the value is. Otherwise, we don't know what the value of the dollar is, and there must be good communication, which is critical. So that's always the key: is the good communication. Be clear. What do you want? I always, I have an interview coming up, like I said, with Ford, and she'll ask, and that's going to be one of the things. Is I'm going to say, I just need clear communication. I just need to know what it is you want me to do. And if communication is clear, I'll do it. If it's not clear, I'll do the wrong thing or do what I think is appropriate. But then you're not going to be happy because I didn't do what you wanted because the communication wasn't clear. And that's, I think, when I get good jobs like Mercedes and Canadian Club, I had very good communication. I knew what I was supposed to do. And I did it. And then it showed productivity and everybody's happy because I'm doing what's needed, but I'm doing correctly. And the jobs that don't work out, you get no communication. You don't know what to do. Well, I assume you've got the experience. You'll know what to do. No, every company is different. Harley, I knew what to do. Tenneco was cut and dry what I needed to do. But some others was a mess. Anyway, so that's the way it is. You have a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend, and it's communicate. What is it you want me to do? What is it you need? And you kind of read the person and you see how you can help them. But you got to communicate. What do you need? And when you don't get the communication, then, oh, well, he didn't do this or she didn't do that. I didn't know. You didn't communicate it. Communicate. Don't be afraid to communicate because that just causes problems. So you can see how it's valid in every aspect of life is the communication. Anyway, so that's about it. Let's review the baseball. We're only taking Toronto under 8.5 against Detroit, Houston over 8.5 against, I think, Seattle. The Toronto is 5 units, the Houston's 2. There's only 5 games today. I'm not going to force plays just to play them, so I'm only playing 2. Teaserking site is all ready to go. I'm just entering passwords now, but if you are, week 1 you would get, but there's no picks up yet. The picks will go up a week before, maybe 2 weeks, because I got to verify injuries. I don't want to pick Minnesota and then JJ McCarthy hurts his knee again, and now I pick Minnesota. So I got to wait till a week before. Once the season starts, it's usually Thursday I post for Sunday. I'll post the Thursday night game on Wednesday, but the Sunday night and Monday night games I've already posted usually by Thursday. I have a pretty good idea, unless there's a quarterback injured and I'm waiting, like Cam Rising, where you were waiting to see if he was playing or not. College is usually, I don't know if there's always Thursday games. If there's Thursday, I post them Wednesday. If they're just the regular slate on Saturday, those get posted Friday night. And they're adding like Friday games, so I would post those Thursday night. But I'm looking at the whole schedule. So I see Thursday night, Friday, Saturday in college, and I'm playing the best games. If I should bet, like today, I'm only seeing 2. And in the pros, it's Thursday, but basically I'm looking at the whole schedule and I'm betting the best games that I feel confident will win. I don't play a lot of Thursday night games because, the players, you need more than 3 days rest. So if you play Sunday and then here comes a Thursday night game, and you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to rest, and you're not recovered. You're still in a lot of pain, and you can't practice that much. So I'm very leery about Thursday games. A lot of weird scores and everything. You kind of lean towards the home team because they're not traveling, but it's still the matchup. So that's what you look at. This first game doesn't matter because there's no Sunday game leading into it. So the Philly Dallas game doesn't matter as far as because it's Thursday or the KC game on Friday. But the next week, the Thursday games. So I kind of am very careful on the Thursday games. They're really stupid. They're worried about the players' injuries, and they play a game Sunday and come back with a game Thursday. In a sport, you need a week to recover. They would say like before, if you played Sunday, you Tuesday you were recovering, and then by Thursday you were starting to feel like you could walk and play, but you couldn't play Sunday, and then Wednesday you're feeling ready to play a game on Thursday. That just is crazy. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for everything. You're asking questions. Why is the boat sinking? Why did the Titanic sink? It hit an iceberg. Okay. Why did it hit an iceberg? Good question. The guys were warned about ice and didn't do anything, or they wanted to crash it on purpose, which I've heard. The owner wanted to get the insurance money. I don't know. I mean, how could they be that stupid? If you're in the boating business and you are in an iceberg area, you probably slow down and you probably do it. No. We gotta get to New York right away. So we gotta. If you hit an iceberg, we hit an iceberg. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But anyway, that's the question. So you see things, you got to ask the question. Why was gold 2,000 an ounce? Boom. Why is gold 3,400 an ounce now? Well, the derivatives are keeping it down. The BRICS countries are buying it. So the demand's high, but they keep pushing it down. That's why it's not going. We see silver finally into the 39s, about to make their move to get into 100. So we will see that. And otherwise, that's, I think, about it. So I got to prepare for I don't have much to prepare for because I understand my work and I'm very good at it, my finance. So I have this interview with Ford at 3 to 3:30. I'll let you know about it tomorrow. And the court case is next Thursday at, I think, 1 to 1:30. Let's see. Yeah. Telephone hearing. I've never heard of it before, but it's just they're trying to get out of paying it. So this is 1:30 next Thursday. Supposed to be 60 minutes, but I can't imagine that. Anyway, anything else? Questions, comments? That's what's happening. So BRICS is really destroying. The dollar's gone. So is the British pound. So is the euro. So you want to get out of things. Stock market, you got to be very careful. It's just bullshit. So try to understand that. Try to be careful with that. And that's what's going on. So enjoy your day. www.teaserking.com. If you're betting the baseball, you got Toronto under 8.5, Houston over 8.5. Let's take our last look before we leave. So we've got gold at gold's at 33.70 and silver's at 39.01. So that's okay. And let's look at the market. Why the stock market keeps going up, these people are going to get fucked. It's down $200 today at 44.7. The stock market's going to get crushed. People will take their money out because the tariffs are going to create problems. The dollar not being worth anything is going to make things more expensive. It'll be over market. Most people won't have extra money to buy a lot of the goods and services. I know it's AI, but I don't know what AI is and if it's any good. Um, I can't imagine companies sitting there with, instead of people doing their work, with AIs, controlling everything. That's very dangerous because then you could get the Russians reprogramming it and fucking everything up. Uh, I'm not sure you want to really go that route to have computers do everything. We've seen Terminator, and it's not a good sight. And really, if somebody takes over, you can't. You're locked out. You can't control anything. So you got to be very careful with that. Anyway, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed class. Again, www.teaserking.com. You can email me. Perfectly fine. Otherwise, I'll see you probably about the same time tomorrow. Usually, I try to do about 11 o'clock, and keep buying gold and silver. Like I say, don't really, gold's 33.70 now. I really wouldn't. It was just 34.40. Now it's 33.70. It's ebbing and flowing there, but soon it'll be 3,500, 4,000, 4,500. When, we don't know. We don't have exact dates and times. But if you bought and you're waiting for it to go up, it's frustrating. Don't be frustrating. Know the boat's going to sink. So it's like we're on the Titanic and you can, well, when's it going to sink? We're in the lifeboat. Don't worry. It will sink. But you can't ask that question because I don't know. All I can say is it's going to sink. So gold's going to go up, but I can't give you tomorrow or whatever. So just realize. And if you need to, the last thought is, okay, so this is losing value. This is worthless. I got 100 grand of this. Go buy gold and silver. Well, I'm scared. Nah, 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 nah. So you buy 100 grand of gold. And now what happens? Well, I need money, right? Well, this money's not worth anything, but I need money. I need to pay a bill. I want to go on a vacation. So you take your ounce of gold and you get $3,400 for it. So you can trade the gold back into the dollar. So there's no risk. Your only risk is if gold would go back down to $500. But the risk, there is no risk of that happening because we have demand from bricks. And as long as there's the bricks people buying it, it's not going to go down. So your only risk of holding gold is the value of the gold drops. But we know the value of the dollar is dropping. So if the value of the dollar is dropping, then what do we care about the gold? We know the gold is going up, so we can always trade the gold back for the dollar. All right. So that's about it. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody. Good luck. And just try to relax. If you're in gold and silver, you're fine. You're only in trouble if you're in the stock market, Bitcoin, or in the dollar. Then you got to sweat it out. All right. Have a good day.